Hey mama, do you find yourself wishing you knew you were on the right path with your business? Or wanting to know how to do it all as a work-at-home mom and entrepreneur? If you struggle with imposter syndrome, mom guilt, or fear of failure, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Alexia, a Christian mindset coach, passionate about teaching moms how to renew their minds to find success both in business and motherhood. You can overcome the negative thoughts holding you back from fully stepping into your calling. I know what it's like to worry your business will never work, to feel mom guilt every time you work on your business, to realize your mindset is hindering you, but not knowing how to change it in a Christ-centered way. I created the Mama with a Calling podcast to teach you how to use the powerful combination of God's Word and proven mindset strategies to help you break free from negative, paralyzing thoughts and gain clarity and confidence to go where God is leading you. As you step out of the old way of thinking and into God's way, you'll find more peace, joy, and purpose. Pop in those earbuds and get ready to let God work in you so He can work through you.
Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Mom with a Calling podcast. I'm Alexia, and I am so glad that you're here with me today. I sound a little stuffy because I am getting over a sickness this week, but I am feeling much better. But I wanted to get this episode out to you guys because this is a really, really good one, a really important concept that I realized as I was reading the Book of Nehemiah. So before I get into that, I wanted to ask you if you have received your copy of the Biblical Mindset Starter Guide for Entrepreneurs. This is a free guide. It's a PDF that I created to help you start to identify any potential mindset blocks and limiting beliefs that are common for entrepreneurs to face. This is what I've found in my own experience, as well as numerous clients, seeing that there are these 5 main areas that really are impacted by a lot of these limiting beliefs that can really get you stuck and have you not moving forward in your business, but you may not even know why. So if you want this free guide, it will walk you through looking at those different areas and seeing if there are any hidden limiting beliefs that you may have so that you can start the process of reprogramming your mind and renewing those with scripture. If you're interested in grabbing your free guide, the link is in the description below, but you can just get it sent straight to your inbox by going to mamawithacalling.com/mindset guide. All right, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the messy middle. You may have heard about the messy middle, but just in case, by definition, this is generally the challenging and uncertain period of growth, or even just an uncertain period of developing your business as an entrepreneur, because it's that weird time, and there's multiple phases of this. It depends on where you are in your business. But for a lot of people, we experience this in the beginning. You can also experience it when you start to grow, like really take off with the business, like increase in revenue and products and building teams and all the things. But for a lot of people, it happens, and I know it's supposed to be messy middle, but there's like these phases. So it's like the middle of this first stage of business where you initially get started with your online business. Maybe you have a general idea of what you want to do, and you think that, okay, I get it. I'm going to start a podcast or whatever it is you're going to do. And so you just kind of put everything you have into making it happen, not really realizing that things are a lot harder than you thought. There's a lot of things that you still have to learn. And along the way, it's just not as straightforward. The money that you thought you were going to make maybe doesn't happen as quickly, or the business model that you chose isn't the one you really want to do, and you learn about a new business model, and so you change that, et cetera, et cetera. So it can start to feel like a slog. You start, when this happens in the messy middle, you really start to doubt what you're doing, right? The doubts start to come in. This could be things like, why am I doing this again? This is so hard. What's the point? This is never going to work. Who am I to do this? I was crazy to think that this would actually ever bring money. All these things start flooding in. But in reality, this is part of the process for every entrepreneur. Like, we all go through this messy middle feeling. And that's why there's a name for it. Like, it's named that because so many people experience that. It's not that only you are going through it Everybody does. So don't be surprised by it or mad at it. It's actually supposed to happen. It doesn't mean that you didn't hear God correctly or that you're not cut out for this, but how you handle it and navigate through this will impact your business and your success. This is important, how you navigate it. So that's what I want to talk about today. So instead of focusing on the hard, focus on where you're going, right? Like, what's the goal? Why are you doing this in the first place? Who will you help and serve with this product or business that you're creating? Don't listen to the enemy who wants to discourage you and get you to quit. Don't listen to any of those negative thoughts like, I can't do this. What was I thinking? This is too hard. God called you to do this. That's what you were thinking. That's what you were thinking when you got started. And you don't have to do it all. You just have to keep showing up committed to the work that he gave you. There is such a good picture of the messy middle and how to navigate it in the book of Nehemiah. So in general, Nehemiah has went back to Jerusalem and he is rebuilding the wall. He's gathered everybody together and he prayed about this, and God has provided a way for him to rebuild the wall around Jerusalem. But this isn't like a bedroom wall or even the wall of a house. This is a wall that is 25 feet thick, at least 25 feet high, and 2.5 miles by hand. So Nehemiah encourages the people and they're excited about it. They're ready to go. But when it's about halfway up, halfway built, that messy middle, the discouragement comes in the form of a person. So Sanballat and there's some other guys that come at them hard. But Nehemiah keeps their focus on God and the work that he gave them to do. And Nehemiah also prays for the strength to keep going and to finish the job. So I'm going to read a little bit about this. This is found in Nehemiah chapter 4. So in verse 6, it says, "So we rebuilt the wall until the entire wall was joined together up to half its height, for the people had the will to keep working. When Sanballat, Tobiah, and the Arabs, Ammonites, and Ashdodites heard that the repair to the walls of Jerusalem was progressing and that the gaps were being closed, they became furious. They plotted together to come and fight against us and to throw Jerusalem into confusion. So we prayed to our God and stationed a guard because of them day and night." Okay, I'm moving down a little bit. In verses 11, so down in verse 14, it says, "After I made an inspection, I stood up and said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, 'Don't be afraid of them. Remember the great and awe-inspiring Lord, and fight for your countrymen, your sons, daughters, your wives, and homes.'" So based on this passage and how Nehemiah handled this, we can actually walk away with some practical steps that we can use in our journey as entrepreneurs as you're building your business and as you encounter the messy middles along the way. So number one is to ask yourself, what right now is feeling like the messy middle for you? Identifying it, knowing what it is, knowing what the issue at hand is going to really help you sort of target your efforts at getting rid of the issue at hand. So is it a decision that you have to make? Or maybe it's something you need to do, but you keep avoiding it. Whatever it is, be honest with yourself about what is feeling like the messy middle for you. Now, with that in mind, think about what was the original vision that God gave you about this business. Because when you put that into perspective, it can really help you remember why whatever is coming up against you isn't going to stop you. It's not going to stop this from being completed. Nehemiah knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that God was behind this, that God had told him yes, that God had provided a way. So even though there were these literal enemies coming against him, he knew they weren't going to prevail because God already said this was going to happen, that the wall was going up. And so when you have that original vision, it can help you have that hope in what God has given you, even though your circumstances might feel like it's not going to happen. Number 3 is, what is feeling like it's trying to stop you? So is there something or someone literally coming up against you and stopping you from making progress? Maybe it's somebody who's kind of saying mean things to you. Maybe, unfortunately, this does happen. Maybe it's your husband or somebody close to you that's kind of saying like, would you give it up already? This isn't working, that kind of thing. Is it you getting in your own way? We all know that happens. Maybe you're feeling like time is against you. Like, I don't have enough time to do this. I keep not working on it. Or you feel like you don't really know how to do the work in front of you. All of these things can feel like they are in the way, but I want you to then ask yourself, are these things, is any of this true? Like, do they hold weight, right? And then what is God's truth? So for example, if people are coming against you, like in this situation with Sambalat, it's looking at, well, God said. So it doesn't matter if they're coming against you, God said. Now, every circumstance is different and everything like that, but holding on to what God has said and even telling that person, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I feel like God has led me that way. And this is why it matters. Why even though it's not working right now, it will come to pass because God has said. However long that takes, I don't know, but I'm going to stick with it. Or maybe if it's time, maybe there's stuff that's getting in the way and you look at your schedule and you're like, wait a second, I feel like I don't have time, but really it's because I keep grabbing my phone and scrolling social media. Or I haven't actually blocked out time, if I'm being honest. So I need to put that in there so that I give it a dedicated amount of time. Or maybe if you feel like you don't know what to do, like you don't know how to do the work in front of you, that's a simple answer of, well, how can I learn? Right? If I don't know what to do, maybe I need to buy a course. Maybe I need to get to talk to someone, to Google some things, like figure out what you need to learn and then learn it so that you can do the work in front of you. Then pray for God to strengthen your hands as you do this work. Pray that he will take care of the enemy, whatever is getting in the way. If it's time, if it's knowledge, whatever it is, God will provide a way for that to be taken care of. And know that God fights your battles, that you just have to show up and keep doing the work that he's given you. And then finally, like I just kind of said this, but keep showing up, being persistent in your obedience and commitment to what God has given you to do, that you are trusting and you are constantly turning to him. If you look at the book of Nehemiah, he is constantly turning to God and praying when these enemies literally come against them. He talks to them a little bit, but he really prays to God, like, God, remember us, protect us, reveal things to us. And the work happens. Like they end up rebuilding the wall in 52 days, which is wild. It had taken, like, people have been trying for years to rebuild the wall, but when God was behind it, it was going to happen way faster, which is a different podcast for another day. But I hope these practical takeaways from this, seemingly simple passage in Nehemiah really help you, because as I read through this, I was just like, this is what it feels like in business, where you are doing this really hard thing. You are excited about building the wall. Yay. Like, we're so excited. You're excited about building the business. And then you get started and it's like, this is hard. This is hard work. People are coming against us. Things are trying to stop us, et cetera. Because when you're already tired and things are hard and then somebody comes against you, it is so easy to be like, all right, I'm done. Because you were already tired. It was already hard, which is why it matters even more to be diligent in these steps. So just to recap, asking yourself what it felt like, what's getting in the way, like what is feeling like it's hard right now. Is there something coming against you? What was God's original vision for this? And then asking yourself, is any of this true? Does it hold weight? Is there something I can do to change it? Constantly praying for God to give you direction, to give you strength, to do the work that he's given you. And then your commitment is to simply continue to show up. Refuse to get distracted. Refuse to be held back or to not move forward just because somebody's coming against you, because this is work that God has given you and it must be done. So I hope that these insights help you as you are following where God is leading you this week. And as always, if you need support in any area in going through this, if you're going through that messy middle and you really just want to walk through the hard things that are happening and would like help with a plan for that, I would love to support you as your coach. You can get a breakthrough session. Just go to mamawithacalling.com/coaching and you can grab one of those there, or we can talk about a longer term package if you want one of those as well. I'm here to support you. You don't have to do it alone. All right. Until next time, keep pursuing your calling.
Thanks for listening to the Mama with a Calling podcast. As always, you'll find the show notes for today's episode at mamawithacalling.com/podcast. Really quick before you head out, are you loving these episodes? To make sure this podcast gets in the ears of as many mamas as possible, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I'm going to be reading your reviews on the podcast, so I can't wait to hear from you. Also, if you know someone that needs to hear these episodes, grab a screenshot and share it on Instagram, and don't forget to tag me at Mama with a Calling so I can share it in my stories. Until next time, keep pursuing your calling.